Waterworld was once an ambitious, high-budget spectacle that captivated audiences. But behind the scenes, several cast members faced tragic accidents that turned their lives upside down. Some battled severe injuries, others saw their careers derailed, and a few struggled to reclaim the spotlight after devastating setbacks. Fast forward to 2025, where have they landed? Did they manage to rise above their hardships, or did fate lead them down an unexpected path? Their stories are full of resilience, heartbreak, and surprises you won't see coming. Stay tuned to uncover their journeys. Kevin Costner, who portrayed the mariner in Waterworld, was 40 years old when he embodied the guilt-bearing, solitary wanderer surviving in a post-apocalyptic sea world. With a brooding intensity and rugged stoicism, his performance stood at the heart of the film's mythos. However, the film's overblown budget and mixed critical response marked a turning point in Costner's career. After Waterworld, several of his projects failed commercially, and he became a symbol of Hollywood excess. His personal life bore its own storms. Married first to Cindy Silva, the union ended in 1994 after 16 years and 3 children, Annie, Lily, and Joe. His second marriage to Christine Baumgartner, with whom he had 3 more children, Caden, Hayes, and Grace, also unraveled in 2023 in a highly publicized and bitter divorce. Friends have said he often felt emotionally adrift, especially when distant from his children. He lost close friends to suicide and addiction, endured health scares, and felt isolated in the industry he once dominated. Now 70, Costner leads a quieter life, occasionally touring with his country band but mostly retreating to his Colorado estate. His net worth is estimated at $250 million, though insiders say he finds little solace in his fortune, longing instead for simpler times. Dennis Hopper, who brought to life the anarchic and swaggering Deacon in Waterworld at the age of 59, infused the villain with gleeful menace and chaotic charm. A veteran of Hollywood's Golden Rebellion era, Hopper's career was a tempest of brilliance and self-destruction. Post-Waterworld, his work became increasingly erratic, and his long-standing struggles with addiction resurfaced. Hopper's 5 marriages were all marked by turbulence, jealousy, and emotional estrangement. His final union with Victoria Duffy ended in a bitter court battle shortly before his death, and their daughter, Galen, became the subject of a prolonged custody dispute. Hopper was also largely estranged from his 3 other children, Marin, Ruth Anna, and Henry, due to years of unstable behavior. Diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer in 2009, his final year was spent battling both illness and legal woes. He passed away on May 29, 2010, at the age of 74, emotionally and physically exhausted. Despite his fame, he died amid financial disputes, with an estate estimated at $40 million, much of it tied up in debt and litigation. Jean Tripplehorn, who played the fiercely protective Helen at 32, was a radiant force in Waterworld, portraying a woman who clung to hope amid desperation. The role was meant to be her breakthrough, but the film's reception tainted her momentum in Hollywood. Offers dried up, and her career retreated into smaller television roles. Behind the scenes, Tripplehorn's personal life has been quietly sorrowful. She married actor Leland Orser in 2000, and while they remained together, sources have described the union as strained due to long work separations and personal incompatibilities. They have one son, August, whose autism diagnosis in early childhood presented both a blessing and a challenge. Tripplehorn reportedly withdrew from Hollywood for years to care for him. She suffered multiple miscarriages, lost her younger brother in a drowning accident, and cared for her father during his agonizing battle with Parkinson's. Now 61, she lives in a subdued Los Angeles neighborhood, rarely appearing in public. Her estate is estimated at $6 million, modest for a once promising star dimmed too early. Tina Majorino, only 10 when she played Enola, the tattooed child symbolizing hope for humanity's survival, captivated audiences with her fearless innocence. Though Waterworld brought her fame, it also cast a long shadow over her childhood. She left acting soon after, retreating from an industry that had both idolized and commodified her. Her teenage years were marked by bullying, body image issues, and a deepening sense of alienation. She returned to acting as an adult but struggled to reclaim her early momentum. Majorino never married and remains fiercely private about her romantic life, though past interviews hint at a painful breakup with a longtime partner and a miscarriage in her early 30s. She is childless and describes her dog as the only being I've ever fully trusted. Majorino endured the loss of her mother to breast cancer and suffered 2 nervous breakdowns before turning 35. Now 40, she leads a quiet life in Portland, Oregon, teaching acting workshops and advocating for mental health. Her estate is estimated at $1.5 million, a reflection not of failure, but of a life lived on the margins of the fame she never sought. Gerard Murphy, born in 1948, played the role of Nord in Waterworld, 1995, at age 47. As Deacon's calculating and vicious right-hand man, Nord was the embodiment of corruption and sadism in a world already teetering on chaos. Murphy's intense portrayal brought an unsettling charisma to the role. After Waterworld, however, Murphy's career waned, with sparse roles that never matched his earlier acclaim in Irish theatre and television. Behind the scenes, his life was riddled with sorrow. He never married, though he had a long and troubled relationship with a fellow stage actress that ended in estrangement. They had one daughter, Bridget, whom he barely knew due to years of absence. Struggling with depression and financial instability, Murphy retreated into a quiet, almost hermit-like existence in London. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2011 and fought privately before passing away on August 26, 2013, at age 64. Friends described him as brilliant but emotionally elusive. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated at just $400,000, a somber reminder of the chasm between fleeting fame and lasting fortune. Rick Aviles, born in 1952, portrayed the Gatesman in Waterworld, 1995, at age 42, just before his untimely death. His character was an atoll enforcer, stern and watchful, a figure tasked with keeping order in a crumbling society. Though a small role, his presence added grit to the film's chaotic landscape. Known best for his chilling performance in Ghost, 1990, Aviles' career should have soared, but was derailed by personal demons. Addicted to heroin for years, his career spiraled as offers diminished. He never married, though he had a tempestuous relationship with a makeup artist in the early 90s. The couple had one son, Miguel, whom Aviles barely supported. His family life was shattered by his addiction, and he often drifted between motels and recovery programs. Despite attempts at sobriety, he died of complications related to AIDS on March 17, 1995, at the age of 42. His final days were spent alone, distanced from Hollywood and family. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated at less than $100,000, most of it consumed by medical debt and addiction recovery. Jack Black, born in 1969, portrayed the smoker plane pilot in Waterworld at the age of 26. Though a minor henchman role, it marked one of his earliest appearances in a big-budget film, piloting chaos from the skies with manic energy. Unlike his co-stars, Black's career skyrocketed in the years that followed, but fame came with a price. Known for his comedy and music, his personal life was more complex. He married Tanya Hayden in 2006, and they had 2 sons, Samuel and Thomas. Though publicly they presented a stable family, friends revealed long periods of emotional distance, jealousy rooted in his career, and painful separations. Jack struggled with depression, particularly in the early 2010s, stemming from unresolved grief over his brother's death and career burnout. He faced public scrutiny, body image issues, and the emotional toll of maintaining fame. Despite these trials, he remains active, though reclusive in recent years, residing quietly in Los Angeles. Now 56, his estimated estate stands at $50 million, a reflection of his success, but it's his retreat from the spotlight that speaks louder than his wealth. John Tollesby, born in 1954, appeared in Waterworld as the Elder at age 41, a character with minimal lines but symbolic presence among the smokers, adding a layer of eerie gravitas. Tollesby, though a familiar face in the 90s with roles in Ali, Heat, and CB4, never broke through to lead roles, and his career faded into obscurity by the early 2000s. Behind the scenes, he endured a string of failed relationships, including 2 short-lived marriages, first to jazz singer Lorraine Fields and later to producer Dana Riley. He fathered 3 children, Malik, Sasha, and Ruben. Estranged from 2 of them due to long absences and financial instability, he lived in relative solitude in Detroit. He battled diabetes and chronic depression, stemming from childhood trauma and the relentless rejection of Hollywood. After a minor stroke in 2018, he withdrew completely from public life. Now 71, he survives on modest pensions and Social Security, with an estate valued around $300,000. Once surrounded by lights and cameras, Tollesby now lives quietly, spending his days painting and watching old films in a 1-bedroom apartment lined with VHS tapes. Neil Giuntoli, who portrayed Gatesman in Waterworld, was 36 when he took on the role of the cautious and grim atoller who monitored entryways into the ramshackle floating colony. Though his part was minor, Giuntoli lent a sense of gritty realism that stood out. Following Waterworld, his career dimmed under the shadow of larger Hollywood machines. He tried to reignite his presence through indie films and staged plays but found only modest success. He married documentary producer Leanne Barrett in 1997, a union that ended in 2009 after years of estrangement. They had 2 children, Jack, born in 2000, and Rosa, born in 2003, but Giuntoli's relationship with them became strained after the divorce. His childhood was marked by emotional distance from a stern father and an emotionally fragile mother. He struggled with depression, bankruptcy in 2012, and a brief battle with addiction that nearly ended his life in 2015. Today, at 66, Giuntoli lives quietly in a rented Chicago apartment, occasionally teaching acting workshops. Once surrounded by opportunity, he now wrestles with obscurity and reflection. His estimated estate is valued at only $150,000, mostly tied to modest royalties and personal savings. Michael Jeter, who played the whimsical and brilliant Old Gregor in Waterworld, was 42 during filming. His portrayal of the eccentric airship inventor lent heart to a film otherwise defined by bleakness. Off-screen, Jeter was a gentle soul often burdened by inner turmoil. Openly gay in an industry still hesitant to accept it, he battled addiction early in life, which threatened to derail his career before his Emmy-winning role in Evening Shade. He never married, though he shared a deep bond with longtime partner Sean Blue. They had no children. Jeter's life was marred by loss. His parents both passed within a year of each other, and his sister died tragically in a car accident in 1998. Diagnosed as HIV positive, in the mid-1990s, he kept the illness private. Although he recovered professionally with roles in The Green Mile and Jurassic Park 3, personal loneliness persisted. Jeter died suddenly on March 30, 2003, of complications from epilepsy at the age of 50. His death shocked friends and fans alike. His estate was valued at approximately $700,000, a testament to a modest but impactful life. R.D. Call, who portrayed the grizzled and intimidating atoll enforcer in Waterworld, was 45 when he gave the role its hardened authority. Known for tough guy roles, Call brought depth to even the smallest parts. But his real-life narrative was steeped in tragedy. After years of playing lawmen and outlaws, he struggled to find purpose off-camera. He never married, though he had a long, stormy relationship with actress Laurie Singer during the late 1980s that ended after a miscarriage and emotional fallout. He fathered a son, Caleb, in 1993, but their relationship was distant due to Call's nomadic lifestyle and battle with alcoholism. Haunted by childhood abuse and an early career scandal involving a violent bar brawl, he often found himself at odds with Hollywood decorum. Despite appearing in over 30 films, Call faded from the spotlight and lived his later years in solitude in Salt Lake City. He died of complications from back surgery on February 27, 2020, at age 69. His estate, diminished by medical bills and financial mismanagement, was estimated at only $300,000. Robert Joy, who played the meticulous and anxious ledger guy in Waterworld, was 44 when he embodied the role of the atoll's trade tracker, an unsung cog in the chaotic society. Though often relegated to supporting roles, Joy's performances always bore precision. Post-Waterworld, he remained active in film and television, notably appearing in CSI, New York and Land of the Dead. Behind the scenes, Joy's personal life unfolded with quiet heartache. He was married to stage actress Mary Testa in 1989, but the couple separated in 2001, citing creative incompatibility and emotional distance. They had one daughter, Emily, who was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a struggle that deeply affected Joy's mental health. His sister's suicide in 2007, a long legal battle over royalties from an off-Broadway production, and a painful hip replacement surgery in 2013 added to the burden. Now 74, Joy lives modestly in Vancouver, working occasionally and focusing on local theater and activism. His estimated estate is around $1 million, largely sustained by careful investments and residuals. John Fleck, born in 1951, played the eerie smoker doctor in Waterworld at age 44, a grim figure lurking in the background, offering twisted medical aid to the dystopian villains with unnerving calm. Though his part was minor, his haunting performance left an impression. After Waterworld, Fleck's career drifted into obscurity, with only sporadic roles in niche theater and low-budget TV, many of which were poorly received. Openly gay in an unforgiving industry, he faced relentless typecasting and found few stable opportunities. He never married but was in a long-term relationship with a visual artist, which tragically ended in heartbreak after his partner died of AIDS in the early 2000s. Fleck never had children. Isolated and estranged from much of his family after coming out in the 80s, he lived a reclusive life, struggling with depression, eviction threats, and substance issues. Among the tragedies of his life, his father's suicide being blacklisted by conservative networks, the loss of 3 close friends to addiction, and a failed suicide attempt in 2006. Now 74, he lives modestly in a rent-controlled apartment in Los Angeles, relying on minimal royalties. His estimated estate is under $150,000, most of which is tied to pension and SAG benefits. Sab Shimano, who was 58 when he portrayed the wise elder in Waterworld, brought quiet dignity to a role often overlooked. His character symbolized fragile hope among chaos, yet his post-film path was strewn with personal turmoil. Despite a long career in theater and film, he was often confined to stereotypical roles, which stifled his creative potential. Shimano married writer Steve Alden Nelson in a private ceremony in the 1990s, a rare constant in a life marked by upheaval. They remained together but endured deep sorrow after losing their adopted son, Kenji, to a car accident in 2008. Sab's relationship with his extended family was distant, having been alienated after coming out. He endured a battle with prostate cancer in the 2010s, a home robbery that left him deeply shaken, and the suicide of a longtime colleague that sent him into depression. Though he still acts occasionally, now 87, he lives quietly in San Francisco with his husband, focusing on writing and mentoring. His estate is estimated at $600,000, including royalties, retirement savings, and a modest condo. Kim Coates was 37 when he stepped into the boots of the enigmatic drifter, also known as the paper trader, in Waterworld. With a manic energy and a glint of danger, he sold secrets and supplies in a desperate barter economy, mirroring a life built on unpredictable turns. Coates's post-Waterworld career saw him cast as villains and outcasts, eventually achieving acclaim with Sons of Anarchy. But behind the scenes, his world was less stable. Married to Diana Chappell since the 1980s, the relationship endured long absences and emotional drift. They had 2 daughters, Brenna and Kyla, but he was often absent, working non-stop to escape financial instability in the early 2000s. Family tensions grew after Coates lost his brother to suicide, then later his father, both events straining his marriage. In 2011, he suffered a serious motorcycle accident, followed by an opioid dependency he quietly fought through. A home burglary in 2015 and a public fallout with his agent added to the strain. Now 67, Coates is still active but keeps a low profile, residing in Canada. His estate is estimated at $3 million, built on decades of gritty roles and smart real estate investments. Who is your favorite character from Waterworld? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.